sickening specimen.
Strong nonetheless. Prisoner, I will not ask again. Where is the Tacitus? You have gained much from the technology of peace, mutant. Why betray your brotherhood?
Divination is a lie. It's killing us. Kane is using you.
Terminate the bitch.
Wait! She may know something.
What is she doing?
She's pinching her carotid artery against her spine. I've seen it before in the camps.
But she'll pass out.
She'll die. Intervene! Wait. The tracking device has been activated. She'll take us where we want to go.
Umagon has led us to the mutant headquarters here in the north. He will attack posing as a GDI force. The mutants will blame GDI, and we will gain their support.
We must first capture a small defense initiative outpost here, and use it to manufacture our attack units.
Good luck, GDI.
Control of the mutants is in our grasp. Their headquarters is located to the north of your drop-off position. The GDI units you will need to implicate in this deception occupy a small base to the southwest. Do not mar the Brotherhood's name any further. Allow the blame to fall squarely on Solomon's shoulders.
Welcome back, Commander. I'm not quite sure what we've done so far to mar the Brotherhood's name, but sure, Cabal, I guess.
Structure sold. Unit ready.
I don't know if I'd call it specifically interesting, but hearing that insult thrown about in a Command & Conquer cutscene just always strikes me as odd.
Building. Cancel.
Powerful for its delivery, because, well, you don't really expect that for a game this time. Especially not one that's, I don't know, way more accessible for kids, I find.
Lost.
At least for me, anyway.
Unit lost.
Infantry reporting. Out and clear. Out and clear. Waiting order. Out and clear. Infantry reporting.
I also find it an interesting look into the character of Oksana Christos, just as a whole, because, well, you've seen that she's a master of propaganda, she's second in command to Anton Slavik, clearly has some sort of assassination or other abilities or pastimes, we'll put it as.
Construction.
But she seems to be very, very mad about mutants. Even though we've seen time and time again from the Brotherhood that mutants are kind of like their go-to thing, in the sense that they absolutely enjoy experimenting on them and have discovered many uses for them, in heavy quotation marks. Maybe it's just that weird thing that women have about hating each other.
Construction complete. New construction options on hold. Building.
If the buildings we have, the building availability we have in the menu, and the briefing wasn't enough to let you know, we have a rather interesting mission this time around.
Insufficient funds.
Once again, we're going to be promoting the proper side that continues to war crime their way to the top of the food chain. We have to disguise ourselves as GDI, go across the map, and capture, threaten Tratos or somebody else. It's not perfectly clear as to what we're going to be doing. More just attack the mutants and blame GDI in the process.
On hold. On hold.
Waiting orders.
Now, the only way we can really do that, if it wasn't obvious, is pretty much just run around and blow the hell up out of everything we can find. But there are some specific targets we should be looking for. Watching this again, or at least what I remember of playing this level on hard, I don't know, something felt weird about this. Like, it wasn't as hard as I remember it being. But, I don't know, maybe I just took too much time when I was a kid.
Building.
Waiting orders.
There's just something about the timings of what we're gonna see come after us.
Unit ready.
Infantry reporting. Moving out.
Construction complete. Cannot deploy here. Building.
If it wasn't obvious, just from our objective that we're doing, if any of your nod units are left alive and get spotted by anybody on this map that isn't yourself, you automatically fail the mission. They absolutely do not want to have nod forces in the area, which kind of gets a little confusing, just because we can still build light infantry, but it places them with the nod placeholder. So I kind of hesitate even building light infantry.
Construction complete.
Not that they're necessarily good at this point in the game anyways, because, well, we've seen quite a few times that light infantry are just kind of cat and
funds.
Infantry reporting.
And if you haven't noticed, the healing rate of our friends there, it's really high. So try not to ever, have a Viceroy just murder one of your harvesters. I don't know if it's a thing for Viceroys to actually run away or run towards a Tiberium patch if they're damaged. But we see that it did seem like that was the case.
Sir. Waiting orders. Waiting orders.
Like, I know I'm not very qualified when it comes to talking about even the maps, just because things are getting pretty complicated and I only have so much time in the day or the week or etc. to devote to learning the intricacies of map building, especially of a late 90s, early 2000s video game. So I can speak even less to the specific nature of how like AI works in this.
Waiting orders. Waiting orders. Waiting orders.
Construction complete.
Well, sadly, it seems like the bridge is out, so we don't have many options in terms of where we want to go on this map.
Waiting orders.
Base under attack.
Waiting orders.
By the way, the only reason why
Loud and clear.
there's any sort of mention of the alarm, the base perimeter as being a notification, I assume, is because people may not have realized or not attempted to do so. I certainly didn't as a kid. And by force attacking your own units. So having that alarm and the base perimeter breach message is basically a notification to the player to say, hey, you need to hide your units like way at the back. Because again, if any mutant, even if they don't survive for more than 5 seconds, they will fail you the mission if you're spotted.
Infantry reporting.
Sadly as well, there's nothing that really mentions or lets you know what the AI can see.
Awaiting orders.
So you just kind of have to gauge it on distance and
New construction.
pray you know what it is specifically.
Awaiting orders. Sir. Infantry reporting. Loud and clear. Waiting orders. Orders received. Infantry reporting.
Unit lost.
Oh, and I guess I should also mention, if it hasn't been obvious yet, the mutants are rather unique, and I like the way that they're actually portrayed in this game. Not to say that they're portrayed anywhere else, but I just like the way that the game treats them. They're just such a mishmash of everything. It's clear that the Forgotten are literally the Forgotten. They don't have any sort of real power structure. Obviously, a person like Umagon or Trados is a leader, or at least a prominent member, but, well, they're jury-rigging missile launchers to camper vans. And their gun turrets are old observation towers that have machine guns fitted to them.
Yes, sir.
There's nothing high-tech, well, necessarily high-tech anyways, or sophisticated about their units. It's just, here's whatever sort of vehicle we can scrap together, and pray that we can make something out of it. It's really interesting.
Waiting orders received. Unit reporting.
They're also really tough, which kind of sucks.
Unit ready. Unit lost.
Sir?
Like in a straight-up fight, you'll probably lose against certain units.
Unit ready.
Sir? Yes, sir.
Insufficient funds.
Unit reporting.
Now, normally I would have expected the Forgotten to have sent at least like 2 or 3 extra waves against the base, but again, it didn't seem like the case, so I don't know if it's just a matter of the difficulty that I'm on, or if I'm missing something at play.
Yes, sir.
Also, I don't know if this is a normal interaction. We've seen before that
Yes, sir.
the Forgotten isn't
Yes, sir.
exactly hostile towards the nature that inhabits the world around them. But in this case, yeah,
On my way.
I don't know why this vehicle is attacking a Tiberium Fiend.
Sir?
It's also going to take quite a while to actually get anywhere in doing so because, well, the Tiberium Fiend, while not having the same sort of restorative properties of a Viceroy, certainly not at the same speed, they are still
Unit reporting. Yes,
regenerating, and they're dangerous to deal with.
sir. Waiting order. Unit
Frankly, I'm kind of surprised that there was no sort of defense mechanism, something to tell the Tiberium Fiends that they should probably be shooting these vehicles. And then this kind of just made it all the much weirder.
Unit ready.
Those Tiberium Fiends, I'm pretty sure, are supposed to go after my units, and then,
Yes, sir.
I don't know, do something from that point on. So, maybe it has something to do with the fact I'm on CNC.net and not the original version, because I don't recall that ever being an interaction in my youth.
Sir, orders received.
I think it's fair to put it at, you know, that sort of weird code interaction.
Waiting orders.
But in the end, who knows? With Red Alert or Command & Conquer Original Remaster, maybe if they make enough sales, they'll decide to remaster Tiberian Sun or Red Alert.
Unit reporting. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit reporting.
I mean, as long as Joe Kukin can get more money,
Yes, sir.
I'm fine with it.
Sir, moving out. Yes, sir.
Insufficient funds.
Unit ready. Sir?
Building that engineer was more of a test than anything else.
Unit ready.
I don't believe we'll come across any buildings that we might be able to capture. Maybe one, but that's only on a more of a technicality than anything else.
Awaiting orders. Awaiting orders.
And frankly,
Awaiting orders.
I think it makes a lot of sense that there's no buildings that we could capture. Think about it for a moment. If we captured or managed to capture a forgotten building, what kind of unit would you get? Would you get mutants that are sympathetic to Nod? What would those even be?
Sir? Waiting orders. No.
It'd be like expecting a, you know, a far right leaning
Sir?
capacity. I don't know how to put it. You know, you just find like some fascist or whatever who's okay with the Brotherhood because, I mean, the Brotherhood's kind of that political spectrum. But politics aside, and getting back to the general theory, is just
Waiting orders.
if Nod or even GDI captured one of those buildings, if they could anyways, what would generate? Would you have a Nod soldier with mutant weapons? Again, I certainly don't think you'd have any collaborators, just because the mutants have already suffered quite a bit at the hands of Nod.
Unit reporting.
And even if you could find any sort of unit,
Sir?
would it really be
Received.
of any value to build those over, say, a normal light infantry? Or instead of spending that money on those sorts of units in the first place,
Waiting orders.
why not on, say, a couple Titans or Tick Tanks or so on?
Unit ready. Waiting orders. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready.
I was really afraid this would happen, and well, I thought I got away scot-free,
Waiting.
but sadly wasn't to be.
Unit lost.
Waiting orders.
Unit lost.
If you're wondering, the bus actually has like a Titan cannon, but no laser.
You got it.
So it just kind of looks like it's nuking, well, not nuking stuff, but vaporizing things with its mind or whatever.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Unit ready. Engineering. Sir?
Building.
Waiting orders. Yeah.
Obviously we can repair the bridge, and if I have to explain to you why, well, I don't know what else to say.
Orders received. Infantry reporting.
Unit ready.
Unit reporting. Yes, sir.
Admittedly, this level kind of suffers from a problem that I've had several times over in the various levels and missions that I've played, and that's just the available Tiberium is pretty low in this one. There's sure a lot of trees that we have available to us, and that'll kind of keep the supply going. But I always feel like there should just maybe be. I wish I had the ability for like a mobile construction vehicle a lot earlier in the campaigns.
Unit ready.
Waiting orders.
Also, this seems like a super small thing that I never really paid attention to as a kid, but I like the idea that one of the team types to send after you is literally a handler and his two dogs.
Loud and clear. Orders. Orders.
Like the idea of
Engineering.
mutated animals,
Unit reporting.
and they have to have
Waiting orders.
some sort of control for them.
Orders. Orders.
It just seems so well thought of without being
Bridge repair.
like spelled out for the player.
Sir. Unit reporting.
Unit ready.
Yeah, I'm never really going to be able to make the most out of waypoints.
Unit reporting. Unit reporting. Sir?
There's kind of two reasons for that.
Yes, sir.
One, admittedly, the waypoint system is a little clunky.
Unit ready.
And to a certain degree, just how the levels are built, kind of, how do I put this? You don't really skip over the waypoints, but the way that the pathing works for the units in this game is at times really good and sometimes poor, just due to the interactions between everybody. Like, there's so many units on the map that they have a hard time moving around and such.
Unit ready.
Or the fact that units are still kind of stuck to cells. If a unit is moving from one cell to another, it's kind of stuck doing that, and it can't really stop really quickly,
On my way.
which is problematic for units that deploy to do anything. Looking at you guys, artillery and tick tanks. But maybe I'm getting ahead of myself.
Waiting orders.
So for the waypoint system, it just feels like you could just use like 2 or 3 rather than any sort of complex structure.
Waiting orders.
Although again, admittedly, maybe that's just the maps that I'm on, and maybe it's handier in multiplayer.
Unit reporting.
Unit lost.
Waiting orders. Unit reporting. Unit reporting. Unit ready. Waiting
Unit
orders.
lost.
Unit reporting. Unit ready. Unit ready. Waiting orders.
So there's a couple of buildings that we can capture. Like I was saying before, one's basically a technicality, and the others we're going to see, or have seen, are more just
Waiting orders.
technicality, or not technicalities, but they're kind of more fluff than
Yes, sir.
what they should be.
Yes, sir.
Like the Hand of Nod that we can see, I don't feel like that should be there. They don't ever produce units from there anyways. Or at least I don't recall any units coming out from there anyways. And the helipad is the one that caveat, because, well,
Sir.
they didn't ever program a second building to
Unit reporting.
have units land at and get rearmed.
Unit reporting. Waiting orders.
And the repair bay doesn't.
Sufficient funds.
Waiting orders. No problem. Sir?
There is a construction yard on the map, so you can always capture that. But thinking about it right now, I forget if that actually allows you to build the Nod tech tree or not,
Unit reporting.
which would be kind of funny.
Unit ready.
Mission accomplished.